everyone, I hope you've had a great day so far and that you're doing well. For this video we'll be continuing through our little trio of a unboxing time-lapse and review of yet another blind box, fifth blind box in fact, from the 001 rollout collection from the Transformers Blokees Wheels subline. So, this will be the fifth blind box that we've done. We've looked at a few of these already in the past. We've seen Swindle, we've seen Prowl, Rodimus Prime, and Megatron in terms of this actual collection. So, with that being said, getting straight into it. So, the blind box, we've already seen it 4 times over. We'll see it yet another more. One of the faces, the other face, and there will be a nice little section just going through each of the vehicles that can be collected. So that was the box. Time to open it and then find out who is actually in this box. Okay, everything out of the box, the usual single plastic bag with all the components for the actual model. Now, box is still open. I have no idea who is actually in here yet because I haven't actually seen the card. So it's obviously one of these, and I can pretty much guess that it's definitely not Swindle, Megatron, or Prowl. The reason why I didn't say it couldn't be Rodimus is because it could be Rodimus, because I think there's one chance of an exclusive in here. Anyway, enough said. Let's find out who's actually in here. Okay, and the answer is... I still don't know yet. I think it might be Hound. Okay, so that's all the bits, and just looking at some of them, having built Swindle, I do believe this is Hound. So with that being said, put the box to the side, and the answer is indeed Hound. So, as we now know, we obviously get this little card included that have the instructions on the back, and obviously here are all the components to put Hound together. So, with that being said, I'm just going to organize this pile of bits into something a bit more logistically viable and put Hound together. Okay, with the time lapse now over, here is the completed Hound. Definitely not looking too bad in his very iconic green colour, with an alt mode very reminiscent of his G1 alt mode. So, what do we have? So Hound from the top, Hound from the very bottom. his left side, his right side, direct front, direct back, and just from a bit of an angle. Now in terms of colours, so the main piece is in that very interesting army green or something to that effect, with the front of the bonnet having a bit more of a lighter green there just on the very top, just to give it a bit of colour, followed by the Autobot insignia as well. Otherwise, the rest of its colours are pretty much black, silver, mainly on the hubcaps, and then we do have probably this very dark grey for his bottom frame. So overall, definitely very cool from a look perspective. As I said, it's very aligned to his G1 aesthetic, which is nice to see. And despite the fact that I've built Swindle, he is not a full one-to-one copy. Or you could also say Swindle is not a one-to-one copy of Hound. And I guess we'll do a comparison of that as the time comes. We already know we do have the front of the, I dare say, tech spec card there for Hound. So nice coloured image there of Hound, followed by the 2D blueprint styles and some basic stats there for his HP, attack, speed and intelligence. Then on the very back, we have the actual instructions for the actual assembly. So that is that. I will put this to the side, but it will come back later on. Now, in terms of what Hound can do, so whilst it isn't necessarily too much, the front window can flip all the way down and then flip all the way back up to that position. It will not flip anymore because of just how there's this little centerpiece in here, probably not well seen on the camera, that will basically stop it from falling flat into his little driver cabin space. Now if I flip this down, much like we saw with Swindle, there will be some detailing there as well, so lighting's not doing me any favours, but there'll be the seating there, there will be the front driver's console as well, so you can see a steering wheel and various console components as well, so definitely nice to see. If we just flip that back up, now Hound will have a mounted little weapon here on his back, which can do a full 360 here in what it's mounted in, which is very cool. Now, believe it or not, this is also able to move a little bit. I don't think that's necessarily the intent, but it does have like a slight bit of movement. The back tyre will move as well. It's only a spare tyre, so nothing too extravagant. And then each of these wheels will also move as well. So Hound will be very much able to move forward and back on a surface, flat surface ideal, but I'm sure he can probably move on other surfaces too. So definitely overall, a little bit of playability, not too much because it's not the point of the line, but overall I am quite impressed with everything that Hound has to offer. Now we've had a look at Hound and some of the basic things that the little vehicle can do, I guess it's time to do some comparisons. So naturally, the first comparison probably really should be against Swindle. So colour-wise, obviously there's going to be a bit of a difference in that Hound is in his typical greens, with Swindle more in that yellow ochre, and obviously there'll be that slight variation in paint applications there on the front hoods. Looking from the side, the weapons will be completely different in how they've been attached to the back. So that's always a nice little change there. From the back side of things, it is pretty much exactly the same. The other actual difference, surprisingly enough, it took me a little while to catch on to this, is the actual front. So Swindle and Hound will actually have two different fronts. I'm kind of hoping I've done Hounds correctly. I think I have. I'm pretty sure it's the correct orientation. But yes, they do have two different front grills, which is actually very cool. So despite the fact that they are essentially the same type of alt vehicle, there has been a little bit of deviation to make sure that they're not 100% carbon copies of each other with a different paint scheme applied, which I think is very, very cool. And just looking at the little card off screen, I'm fairly certain that yes, I've got the front grille in the correct orientation. So that is Swindle and Hound side by side. Otherwise, I mean, they're going to be pretty much the same, so that's very cool to see them together. So actually I am relieved that there is going to be some variation between the two, despite sharing effectively the same chassis. So that was the main comparison there, and since I guess we've started with the Decepticons, we might as well continue with them. So there is Hound with Megatron. Very interesting clash of colours. So Megatron will definitely be longer and most likely wider compared to Hound, and that's to be expected. But definitely very cool to see these two side by side. So that's the current Decepticons that I have in my collection. Now if we were to do the Autobots, here is Hound and Prowl. So two names that have obviously shared a lot of time together back in G1, although where Hound has gone more of a G1 aesthetic, Prowl has more of a IDW comic aesthetic. So that's the two side by side. Definitely very interesting. Be nice to actually get Prowl in a G1 version, just so that you can have Hound and Prowl from a G1 perspective there, but I guess time will tell if we get to go down that pathway. Hound versus comic Rodimus Prime. Very interesting in change in aesthetic, where Hound is more alike to a contemporary real-life vehicle, where Rodimus not so much. But the two of them together do look cool. And then lastly, of course, we naturally have to do Hound with Optimus himself. So this is the Optimus with the more G1-centric smokestack with him. So that's the two together. So I guess these two side by side would actually look very cool. Just because they do have, well, especially this version of Prime, probably more G1-like than if I used his other quote-unquote smokestack option. Well, the front would still be the same, but I think the smokestacks kind of sell the look. Since we still have Prime there, so typical G1 trailer with Hound there. Naturally, Hound will obviously be much smaller than the trailer, as expected. Because we always like doing this, although we did technically do it with Swindle. Roller and Hound. So Roller is definitely going to be smaller than Hound, but still very cool there. And then the ultimate test of, will Hound fit in the G1 trailer? In theory he should, because Swindle did, and if I remember correctly I didn't take anything off Swindle, but I will admit I think Hound has a slightly higher silhouette because of his mounted weapon. So with that being said, yes, so if the weapon is there, he will not be able to go into the trailer. Take the weapon off, not a problem. And obviously you can happily roll on out. Okay. So that was a bit of a comparison of Hound against other releases within the C01 rollout collection, and obviously against Optimus Prime, well, at least this version of Prime, who was done as a standalone version. So, now that we've done that, I guess final thoughts for this little 1/64 version of Hound. Overall, visually, looks very cool. I'm glad they've kept his actual G1 aesthetic right down to the colours. Now, I'm not sure what I think about this little lighter green on the bonnet, but it does help break up the colours, and to be honest, it's not that bad. It does look really cool. I do like how, despite the similar vehicle chassis as Swindle over here, it is not a carbon copy, so we do have some minor changes just to set the two apart, such as the front grille and the back of how the weapon is mounted. Otherwise, if I took those things off, then yes, they would look exactly the same, bar the actual colour here used on the top. But overall, for what he can do, I mean, it's not supposed to transform, it's just a little 1/64 scale alt vehicle. So it's nice that the wheels move, it's nice that some of these other things just have a little bit of articulation about them, just to obviously make it look a little bit different and not necessarily have a full 100% static pose. So overall, that is very cool. What do I have reservations about? In terms of the actual vehicle of Hound, none whatsoever. And in fact, I'm actually glad that they did do some changes to make him different from Swindle, or alternatively, Swindle different from him. Just because, you know, Transformers being Transformers, we're so used to carbon copies of things. It's nice that those subtle changes have been done. So what could have been a bit of a not so great has actually been completely mitigated. My only real thing is obviously, I keep saying this, it's just the size of the instructions. Now, this one wasn't too bad because I have built Swindle before, so having a bit of experience with the build, the chassis, etc. does help. The size of instructions has haunted me a few times. I think, whoops, just fling it around like a playing card. It has haunted me with the Rodimus build because of a difference in the wheel sizes, so it will always be a pain point, but it wasn't so much this time around because of having the experience of building Swindle. So overall, I'm very happy with Hound, and you know, it's nice to see my growing collection of the Transformers Blokees Wheels as well. So looking forward to seeing this continue to expand. I'm going to leave the little tri-themed video there. I think we've covered everything between the unboxing, the time lapse, bit of a quick review, just as a comparison against some of the other releases. Thank you very much for watching this video. Feel free to do the usual like, comment, subscribe. It does help support the channel, I do appreciate it. Extra content can be found on my Instagram as well as the YouTube community tab. Just bear in mind right now it's just been a little bit stagnant, but I'm hoping to change that soon. With that being said, stay safe and take care, and I will catch you all in next week's video, which will be the 6th blind box unboxing. To who it is, I still have no idea until the actual day. Otherwise, there's other content on the channel as well. Until the next time, see ya.